Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen and enjoy my stories every day. I pull into our driveway earlier than usual, the unexpected early release from work feeling like a small victory. The sun casts a lazy glow over the suburban houses, all neatly arranged like pieces on a chessboard. I'm looking forward to a quiet evening, maybe catching up on a series we've been neglecting. As I approach the front door, the faint smell of freshly baked pizza wafts through the air. Surprise dinner, I think, smiling to myself. Lauren must have decided to treat us. My heart warms at the thought. Inside, the house is strangely quiet. The aroma of pizza grows stronger, guiding me like an invisible hand towards the kitchen. No sign of Lauren or the pizza that's scenting the entire house. My curiosity turns to mild annoyance. Lauren? I call out. No response. The stillness feels unsettling as I move towards the stairs, each step echoed by the creaking of the old wood. Reaching our bedroom door, which is oddly ajar, I hear faint laughter, her laughter. The kind she reserves for moments of genuine delight. Confused, I push the door open, my heart pounding in my chest, the noises becoming clearer. The scene before me freezes me in place. There, in the chaos of our rumpled sheets, is Lauren, unmistakably bare, with the pizza delivery guy beside her, his uniform discarded carelessly on the floor. They're too engrossed in their activity to notice my presence at first. The room spins as I struggle to process the sight, the smell of pizza now nauseating. Jack! Lauren gasps, scrambling to cover herself as she spots me. Her face flushes a deep red, her eyes wide with shock and something else, guilt. What the hell is this? My voice is barely a whisper, choked by the betrayal slicing through me. The pizza box lies open on the nightstand, a mocking reminder of the normal evening I had imagined. I can explain, she stammers, but the pizza guy is already snatching his clothes, mumbling apologies, or excuses, it's hard to tell which. He darts past me, almost tripping in his haste. Explain. How do you explain this, Lauren? My demand is sharper now, the initial shock giving way to a searing anger. It's not what it looks like, Jack. Her words are desperate, pleading. But it's exactly what it looks like. We were just, she starts, but the foolishness of any excuse sickens me. Just save it, I cut her off, holding up a hand. I don't need to hear any more lies. She reaches out, tears brimming in her eyes, but I pull away. I can't even look at you right now, I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. As I turn to leave, the magnitude of her betrayal sinks in. My steps are heavy, each one laden with the weight of our crumbling marriage. I need time to think, away from her, away from this disaster. Outside, the air feels colder, harsher. I head to my car, the images of betrayal flashing through my mind like a bad movie reel. The pizza, once a symbol of a relaxing night, now just another piece of the grotesque puzzle. In the solitude of the car, a plan begins to form. Revenge, clear and cold, offers a sharp relief against the pain. She has turned our life into a farce, and I will not let her betrayal go unanswered. I start the engine, the roar of it drowning out the lingering echo of her pleading. The road stretches before me, and with each mile, I distance myself from the hurt, focusing instead on what must be done. Lauren has made her choice, and now, so have I. The game has changed, and I am no longer just a betrayed husband. I am a man with a mission, driven by a newfound resolve. The cold night air does little to cool my simmering rage as I drive aimlessly, my mind racing faster than the car. I finally pull over at a small, dimly lit bar on the outskirts of town, a place where no one would recognize me, or so I hope. As I push through the door, the murmur of conversations and clinking glasses briefly wash over me, then recede as the patrons return to their own worlds. I find a secluded booth at the back and slump into it, my eyes scanning the room out of habit more than interest. The bartender, a middle-aged man with a neatly trimmed beard, approaches. What can I get you? He asks, his voice carrying a note of concern, probably picking up on my distressed demeanor. Whiskey, neat, I reply, trying to steady my voice. While I wait, a couple at the next table catches my attention. They're arguing, their voices low but intense. The woman, striking with sharp features, notices me looking and gives a slight, conspiratorial smile before turning back to her companion. The bartender returns with my drink, and I nod in thanks, taking a long sip. The burn of the whiskey is a welcome distraction from the turmoil inside me. You look like you could use someone to talk to, a voice says, pulling me from my thoughts. It's the woman from the nearby table, now sitting across from me in my booth. I'm not really in the mood for company, I say, wary of her intentions. I get it. But misery loves company, right? She smiles wryly, her eyes not missing the wedding ring I still wear. I'm Eva. Jack, I reply, after a pause. Her presence, oddly comforting, prompts me to ask, so, what's your story? Let's just say my partner wasn't who I thought he was, Eva says, her tone bitter. You. I hesitate, then the words spill out. I tell her everything, from the surprise dinner anticipation to the soul-crushing discovery. Eva listens, her expression one of understanding rather than pity. That's rough, she finally says. So, what's your plan? Plan. I echo, the reality that I hadn't thought that far ahead sinking in. Eva leans forward, her gaze intense. Look, if you're thinking of getting even, you'll need a plan. And maybe an ally, she suggests, her voice dropping to a whisper. Why would you help me? I ask, suspicion edging my words. Because I've been where you are. And nobody deserves that kind of betrayal. Besides, I could use a little distraction myself, she says, a mischievous glint in her eye. I consider her offer. A part of me screams to walk away, to not get entangled in whatever Eva's own story might involve. But another part, the part fueled by anger and the desire for retribution, wants to hear her out. Okay, tell me more, I say finally, pushing my empty glass aside. Eva's smile widens, and she begins outlining a plan, her ideas both cunning and terrifying. As the night deepens and her plan unfolds, the seeds of a dark alliance are sown. With each word, I am drawn further into Eva's world, a place where revenge is just the beginning. We part ways with a promise to meet again soon, the next steps of our plan crystallizing with every moment. As I head back to my car, the weight of my decision sits heavy on my shoulders. Yet, for the first time since the disaster, I feel a spark of something like excitement, or perhaps it's just the thrill of the hunt. The game has definitely changed, and with Eva by my side, I'm no longer alone in this. The next moves require careful planning and absolute secrecy. The road to retribution has begun, and there's no turning back now. The early morning sun barely touches the horizon as I pull up to the quiet coffee shop where Eva and I agreed to meet. It's barely dawn, the streets almost deserted, which suits our needs for discretion perfectly. I find her already seated in a secluded corner, her appearance almost unrecognizable from last night. She's swapped her striking, eye-catching attire for something much more nondescript. Morning, Jack, Eva greets me with a nod, her eyes scanning the few patrons scattered around before focusing back on me. Morning, I reply, sliding into the seat opposite her. A waitress approaches, and we order coffee, keeping our conversation on hold until she leaves. So, about last night, Eva begins, stirring her coffee slowly, you sure you're ready for this? Once we start, it might get messy. I nod, my resolve hardened overnight. I'm in. What's the plan? Eva outlines the strategy in a low, even tone. We start by gathering intel. We need to know his routines, his weaknesses. If we're going to hit him where it hurts, we need to be precise. His routines are simple, I interject, the bitterness creeping into my voice. Work, home, and occasionally, he plays poker with some buddies on Fridays. Perfect, Eva says with a slight smile. Poker night might be our best shot. It's public, predictable. We can stage something there. I raise an eyebrow, intrigued by her confidence. Stage what, exactly? Eva leans in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Humiliation. Break him down socially. I have a few ideas on how to shake his confidence, make him question his own sanity. The plan sounds extreme, but a part of me thrills at the thought of turning the tables on him. And after that? I ask. After that, we let him unravel. Keep the pressure up, make him make mistakes. Meanwhile, Eva pauses, her eyes locking onto mine. You start fixing your own life. Get your finances in order, secure any shared assets. When he's down, you make your exit official. The meticulousness of her plan strikes me. It's cold, calculated, and it speaks of experience. Too much experience, perhaps. Have you done something like this before? I venture, the question hanging heavily between us. Eva's expression doesn't change. Let's just say I've learned from the best. And I've learned from the worst. Our coffee arrives, and we shift our conversation to more mundane topics, ensuring that anyone overhearing us would lose interest. But my mind is racing, analyzing each step we need to take. As we wrap up our meeting, Eva hands me a small, cheap burner phone. Use this to communicate with me from now on. And Jack? Yes. Be careful, she says with a serious look. People like us, we're playing with fire. Don't get burned. As I drive away, her words echo in my head. The reality of what I'm embarking on settles in. I'm not just seeking revenge anymore, I'm weaving a web of deception that I'll have to navigate with utmost care. I spend the rest of the day preparing. I visit the bank to open a new account in my name only, and start sorting through our financial documents at home, taking note of everything that might matter in the coming storm. By evening, as I sit alone in the fading light, a plan of action firmly in place, I realize how far I've come from the man who walked in on his cheating wife. Now, I'm a man on a mission, driven not just by her, but by a newfound ruthlessness. The game is set, the pieces are moving, and I am ready to play. The evening air is crisp, a faint echo of laughter spilling from the back room of the dimly lit bar where the weekly poker game is underway. I've been here for the last hour, blending into the background, watching the players throw their cards and chips around with careless abandon. Tonight, everything changes. Tonight, I end this charade. Eva is already here, a silent shadow in the corner, her eyes sharp and calculating. She gives me a subtle nod as I approach, a signal that everything is in place. You ready? She whispers, her voice barely audible over the clinking of glasses. I nod, my stomach tight with nerves. Let's do this. Eva's plan is simple yet brutal. A staged confrontation, a public embarrassment meant to shatter his ego. As the evening wears on, the tension builds, my every sense heightened. I watch him laugh, oblivious to the storm that's about to break. Then, the moment arrives. One of Eva's associates, posing as a drunken patron, stumbles over to the poker table, spilling a drink all over him. The room falls silent as the man starts shouting accusations. You cheater. I saw you. You've been rigging the game, he yells, pointing a finger shakily at him. The accusation hits like a bomb. Cheating in poker, especially here, is a cardinal sin. He jumps up, his face red with anger and embarrassment, denying everything. But the seed of doubt is planted, his friends hesitating, their trust wavering. As he tries to defend himself, I step forward, adding fuel to the fire. I saw it too. You've been pulling cards from your sleeve. All evening, I've watched you. The room erupts in chaos, his friends and bystanders turning against him, their former camaraderie forgotten in the wake of betrayal. He glances at me, betrayal in his eyes, and in that moment, I feel a twinge of satisfaction. Eva watches the scene unfold with a cold, detached amusement. Once the chaos reaches its peak, she leans in, her words for my ears only. It's done. Let's go. We slip out into the night, the echoes of the commotion inside fading behind us. But as we walk, a silence grows between us, a gulf filled with unspoken questions. Finally, I stop and face her. Why did you help me? Eva pauses, then smiles, a twist of sorrow in her expression. Because I needed to see him fall. Because I hated him for what he did to me. The realization hits me like a wave. Him. I echo, confusion and understanding mingling. Yes, Jack. He's my ex. The one who cheated on me, broke me. I used you to get my revenge, just as you used me for yours. The cold truth settles between us, bitter and sharp. We used each other, manipulated events and people to our own ends. A mirror of deceit reflecting our darkest desires. So, what now? I ask, the weight of everything crashing down on me. Now, we walk away. For good, Eva says, her voice resolute. We part in the shadow of the night, two figures walking separate paths, bound by our actions but severed by the same. As I walk away, I realize the emptiness of revenge. The satisfaction is fleeting, replaced by a hollow victory. Weeks later, the divorce papers come through. The house is sold, the remnants of my past life packed away. As I start anew, the lessons of betrayal, revenge, and the cost of deceit linger. In the end, I never see Eva again. Our alliance, built on mutual hatred and revenge, dissolves into the shadows of our past, a stark reminder of the destruction we're capable of when our hearts lead us not into love, but into darkness.